What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all doing fine. And today I'm gonna finish the next to reading matter. Next to reading matter. It's gonna be the sixth part, so let's do this. This happened for 5 evenings consecutively. On the sixth day, she ran away with Fergus McMahon. It was known that they fled in a sailing yacht bound for Belize. I was only 8 hours behind them in a small steam launch belonging to the Revenue Department. Before I sailed, I rushed into the bodega of old Manuel Equita, a half-breed Indian druggist. I could not speak, but I pointed to my throat. He made a sound. It made a sound like escaping steam. He began to yawn. In an hour, according to the customs of the country, I would have been waited on. I reached across the counter, seized him by the throat, and pointed again to my own. He yawned once more and thrust into my hand a small bottle containing a black liquid. Take one small spoonful every 2 hours, says he. I threw him $1 and scanned for the steamer. I steamed into the harbor at Belize, 13 seconds behind the yacht that Annabella and Fergus were on. They started for the shore in a dory just as my skiff was lowered over the side. I tried to order my sailorman to row faster, but the sound died in my larynx before they came to the light. Then I thought of old Aquita's medicine, and I got out his bottle and took a swallow of it. The two boats landed at the same moment. I walked straight up to Annabella and Fergus. Her eyes rested upon me for an instant. Then she turned them, full of feeling and confidence, upon Fergus. I knew I could not speak, but I was desperate. In speech lay my only hope. I could not stand beside Fergus and challenge compassion in the way of beauty, purely involuntary. My larynx and epiglots attempted to reproduce the sound that my mind was calling upon my vocal organs to send forth. To my intense surprise and delight, the words rolled through beautifully clear, resonant, exquisitely modulated, full of power, expression, and long repressed emotion. Senorita Annabella, says I, may I speak with you aside for a moment? I don't. You don't want details about that, do you? Thanks. The old eloquence had come back all right. I led her under a coconut palm and put my old verbal spell on her again. Judson, says she, when you're talking to me, I can hear nothing else. I can see nothing else. There is nothing and nobody else in the world for me. Well, that's about all of this all of the story, Annabella went back to Otarama in the steamer with me. I never heard. Well, that's about all of the story. Annabella went back to Otarama in the steamer with me. I never heard that. I never heard what became of Fergus. I never saw him anymore. Annabella is now Mrs. Judson Tate. Has my story bored you much? No, said I. I'm always interested in psychological studies. In human heart, and especially a woman's, is a wonderful thing to contemplate. Contemplate. It is, said Judson Tate. And so are the trachea, and the bronchial tubes of man, and the larynx too. Did you ever make a study of the windpipe? Never, said I. But I have taken much pleasure in your story. May I ask after Mrs. Tate and inquire of her present health and whereabouts? Oh, sure, said Judson Tate. We are living in Bergen Avenue, Jersey City. The climate down in Otarama didn't suit Mrs. T. Tate. I don't suppose you ever dissected the arytenoid cartilages of the epiglottis, did you? Why, no, said I. I'm no surgeon. Pardon me, said Judson Tate, but every man should know enough of anatomy and therapeutics of safeguard his own health. A sudden cold may set up capillary bronchitis, or inflammation of the pulmonary vesicles, which may result in a serious affection of the vocal organs. Perhaps so, said I, with some impatience, but that is neither here nor there. Speaking of these strange manifestations of the affection of women, yes, interrupted Judson Tate. They have peculiar ways. But as I was going to tell you, when I went back to Otarama, I was found from Manuel Iquita what was in that mixture he gave me for my lost voice. I told you how quick it cured me. He made that stuff from the Chuchula plant. Now look here. Judson Tate drew an oblong white pasteboard box from his pocket. For any cough, he said, or cold of hoarseness, or bronchial affection whatsoever. I have here the greatest remedy in the world. You see the formula printed on the box. Each tablet contains licorice, 2 grains, balsam tolu, 1/10 grain, oil of anise, 1/20, minim, oil of tar, 1/60, minim, oleoresin of cobwebs, 1/60 mimine, fluid extract of chuchula, 1/10 minim. I'm in New York. Went on Judson Tate for the purpose of organizing a company to market the greatest remedy for throat affections ever discovered. At present, I am introducing the lozenges in a small way. I have here a box containing 4 dozen, which I am selling for the sum of 50 cents. If you're suffering, I got up and went away without a word. I walked slowly up to the little park near my hotel, having Judson Tate alone with his conscience. My feelings were lacerated. He had poured gently upon me a story that I might have used. There was a little of the brief of life in it, and some of the synthetic atmosphere that passes when cunningly tinkered in the muds. And at last it had proven to be a commercial pill, deftly coated with the sugar of fiction. The worst of it was that I could not offer it for sale. Advertising departments and counting rooms looked down upon me, and it would never do for the literary. Therefore, I sat upon the bench with other disappointed ones until my eyelids dropped. I went to my room and, as my custom is, read for an hour stories in my favorite magazines. This was to get my mind back to art again. And as I read each story, I threw the magazines sadly and hopelessly, one by one, upon the floor. Each author, without one exception, to bring balm to my heart, wrote liltingly and springfully a story of some particular make of motor car that seemed to control the sparking plug of his genius. And when the last one was hurled from me, I took heart. If readers can swallow so many proprietary automobiles, I said to myself, they ought not to strain at one of Tate's compound magical chuchula bronchial lozenges. And if you see this story in print, you will understand that business is business, and if art gets very far ahead of commerce, she will have to get up and hustle. I might as well add, to make a clean job of it. That you can buy the chuchula plant in the drug stores. All right, guys. That was the good story, right? We're gonna stop for today and see you tomorrow with the next one. Thank you for joining. Bye.